Hello, spectacular people that you are, you beautiful folk. Today I'm going to talk about beliefs and about the irony of this life. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I'm going to start by telling you a story. So one day this priest was working on the Sunday sermon. It was a Saturday, and he was working on the sermon, trying to find a nice thing to say. He was really struggling with it. He was getting quite frustrated. When suddenly, through the window, which he had wide open to get some fresh air, he heard the noise of children playing football. Bang, bang, laughter, crying, screaming, and he couldn't concentrate on his work with the sermon. And he was getting more and more agitated. In the end, he thought, I've got to get rid of these kids. What can I do? And he had this great idea. So he went to the window and he leant out of the window and he said, "Children, come. And they all ran up and said, "Yes, Father, what is it?" He said, "Haven't you heard?" I said, "Heard what?" "Down by the river, there's this great big fire-breathing monster and it's eating all of the cattle. You've got to go and see it." Well, the children just set off in a gallop. The priest, closing the window, happy with himself, feeling very good about himself, thought, now I can concentrate on doing the sermon. That got rid of them, didn't it? And so it was only about 5 minutes later that he heard this massive commotion outside of the window. And running to the window, he opened the window and he saw that the whole entire village was running downriver. And he leaned out the window and he said, "What's going on? What's going on?" And one of the villagers said, "Haven't you heard? Down by the river, there's a fire-breathing monster that's eating all of the cattle. We've got to go and stop it." And then the man ran on. And the priest ran to the corner, grabbed his coat and put it on, and started running outside and running with the people. And as he ran, he said, "I know I made the story up, but who knows? It could be true." And I'll tell you another story. You see, I'm not opening loops, I'm opening and closing them straight away. Rod Stewart, in an interview, was asked how he handled fame. And he said, later on in life, he said, it didn't really mean anything to me. But he said at the beginning, I really didn't handle it well. In fact, the point in which I started to handle it really badly was when I started to believe my own press, when I started to believe what the press said about me. And I'll tell you another story. When I first started to be self-employed, I started to work in a network marketing company. And it was just like all of them, no different. But they had this slogan, which was, "The system works. It's people that don't." And so whenever I saw that the system wasn't working for somebody, I used to say that. The system works. It's people that don't. And yet at the same time, I knew fine well that the system didn't work. How did I know that? Because it wasn't working for me. I hadn't made any money. And yet there I was telling other people that they could make money. And I was telling other people that they could make money so that I could make money. So effectively, I knew that I was lying. But I fooled myself. Rod Stewart knew that the papers weren't saying the truth about him because he knew who he was. And yet he started to believe it. The priest knew that there was no monster down by the river. He'd made the story up. And yet, he even started to doubt himself. And I wonder how many things in our lives are like that. How many things do we tell ourselves that are downright lies, that we know are lies, and yet somehow we manage to convince ourselves that it's okay, or it's correct, it's the right thing. How many rules and regulations have we got inside of us? Things like, you don't do that, and you do that. Now, lots of them are cultural, lots of them are kind of part of our societal norms, but how many of our societal norms are totally incorrect? And we only believe them because that's what's been given to us. And yet deep down we know that it's not true. And it would be easy to say, well, all of the sleeping people are just like the priest, running down to the river to go and have a look at the fire-breathing monster, knowing fully that really it's not there. That would be the easy thing to say. And like, we knew there was no monster. We said there was no monster. Well, we did. But I think it goes a lot deeper than that. We justify our own actions based on the beliefs that we hold and based on the beliefs that we create about what we do. You know, there's a nice little thing that you can do with yourself. You can have a sentence and then you have to finish it. I quite often do this in therapy. I might say, right, I want you to finish these sentences. Good people, and then somebody has to finish that sentence. Or bad people always, and then somebody has to finish it. Good people always do this, yeah? And it's amazing what you get to find out about the person, what they believe about good people, what they believe about bad people. And if a person believes themselves to be bad, and you say to them, finish the sentence, good people always, they will then tell you what it is that they're not doing. Hence, you will know why they perceive themselves to be bad. And so we carry these weird beliefs, not even beliefs, we don't even believe them really. We pretend to believe them because it's more comfortable. It's easier to believe them than to face the stark reality of the fact that it's a load of shit, what we're saying. I've heard myself say the most ridiculous shit things. And as I say them, I can hear that they're not true. Some of them are great. You know, I'm not saying that all the things that we say are not worthy of things. For example, I say coffins don't have pockets. Okay? Of course they have pockets. People put stuff in all the time, but it's a metaphor. It's a great metaphor, which is you can't take it with you. Don't work too hard in your life because you're not going to take it with you. What's the point? Have some fun with people. So some of the beliefs, you know, some of these little truisms are good. I've got another truism that I use in my life, which is don't work harder, work smarter. I like that. I really like that. Do I live up to it all the time? No, sometimes I just work really hard and not very smartly. However, I'm learning. But how many things are we being told that perhaps we're believing that maybe aren't true? Just like people on the right are good and solid and Christian and nice, and people on the left are crazy motherfuckers. Yeah? We're being taught that all of the time. All of the time. Is it true? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's just very easy. It makes it very easy to therefore justify your thoughts and your actions. Another one. All people who believe in God are stupid. Yeah. And people who believe in God, all atheists are stupid. It's a really easy belief to have. It justifies your position. All of these beliefs help us to stagnate. They create stagnation. And they stop us from being true to ourselves. Rod Stewart believed what they said about him and probably became the parody. You know, it's often you hear this, that very famous people, as they get older, they become a parody of their own selves. I can recall some famous singer, I think it was Tony Newley or Anthony Newley, and somebody who saw him in later life singing said, Anthony Newley, if you went into a karaoke competition of people pretending to be Anthony Newley, would probably come third. Why? Because he'd become a parody of his own self. And so I think that the most important thing for us to do is to find out who we really are And also to look at our beliefs, look at our values and ask ourselves, are these really mine? And are they just an easy way to justify me? It's a very tough journey. This is one of the most important journeys of our life, is to look in the mirror, look at ourselves, look in the mirror, baby. Yeah, it's hard and it's scary, but I think it's where growth lies. We grow when we look at ourselves and make changes and are honest, brutally honest with ourselves. Something I'm working on. I love you all and I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.